all to another Effisus Connect to Valley session. So we're just about to start. For those of you the first time, just to let you know, we do have a chat somewhere on your screen. So feel free to leave a comment, a question during a presentation. I'll be more than glad to answer those. Today, I'm also followed by my colleague, Ricardo Ramos. So as you all know, today we'll be discussing a couple of case studies. In this case, we decided to name it Innovation in Details. So we'll be focusing specifically in gutters, repairing of gutters and gutter joints. And that's why we decided to bring today those two practical cases or case studies, you name it. So the first case, we try to analyze the situation when it comes to the integral repair of a gutter, so the whole gutter. In the other case, we'll be focused more specific on the joints themselves. So we all know how hard it is to repair this type of situations that we see outside. And again, today we decided to bring in those practical cases and those study cases to actually see how this whole process actually goes. It happens inside. A lot of times there's a couple of requirements when it comes to this project itself, and see how we actually overcome applying our solution. So here is the first case. So the client have a very deteriorated gutter. This was in a foam factory, and it has some sort of requirements and sort of problems when it comes to repairing this gutter. First thing was very damaged, as I mentioned. The production at the factory could not stop, so they must continue whatever they've been doing, their daily jobs. It couldn't be something they need to remove the whole panels itself. They needed to continue their work and still repair the situation. And again, other things, of course, is really important is the durability of the whole solution itself, the integrity that we found. It's even if in this bad state, as you see here in the picture, if we're still able to recover it. And here the requirements. So the solution itself must be efficient. It has a very high quality when it comes to the solution. They didn't have a special workers or special laborers specialized to do this sort of, for instance, when you see bituminous membrane, offset membranes, when it is required to apply some torch or welding in some points. So they needed a very quick and easy product to install. And again, a warranty was a very important fact when it comes to solution. So what we decided to bring for this case was the Effisus all-type gutter. So some of you might already be aware about this project. This is a waterproof membrane. It's a self-adhesive EPDM membrane. This is the base composition. Again, this is not just a normal EPDM. It's reinforced it and allow us to repair the integrity of the whole gutter with just pretty much this one product. So we all know how EPDMs work. The base technology is over in the market for over 50 years. So this is not based on aging or accelerated test. We know that this is the life expectancy is already proven for over the 50 years of the quality of this type of rubber membrane. It allows having a really flexible material. So when it comes to gutters, we see how actually this material actually moves. So the material itself, it's very flexible. It gave us a service temperature to minus 30 degrees to up to 120, which is pretty good. Even we apply this a lot on Middle East when the climate is very hot. And we see no problems at all applying this type of solution. And again, specific on this product itself, it fulfills the requirements for the case one, because we do not need, we're discussing how actually install, how actually is the method statements of the application of the product. We don't need any special tools, any special product to apply it. So quite simple, and again, fulfilling all the client requirements for this case. So here are a couple of things, Ricardo. I think I mentioned most of them, but do you like to highlight some of those?
Yes, Sean. Thank you very much. Yes, you highlight most of them, but is always nice to remind. And yes, this solution is very interesting for this project because this factory was very close to the sea, and when this factory are very close to the sea, a lot of corrosion comes to the gutters. The gutters are always that element of the roof that has a lot of corrosion, the first element to be put on the roof normally, and is the one that is more sensible to this kind of weather agents. So this solution brings maybe a protection to the gutter, and it's very interesting to put this kind of solution in a roof, because when we were talking about corrosion, no better solution than the PDM membrane to do this kind of job. No type of accessories needed, like you said. The factory doesn't have any specialized work to 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 put some solutions, and it's very interesting that this solution is very simple to apply. A self-adhesive membrane, you only need to clean up and to put the membrane on its on the gutter. Like you say, APDM, we don't need any aging tests. It is on the market for many years. It has a big um, life expectancy. This APDM of Effisus gutter is a little bit different. It's reinforced. It can be underwater for many years. That no problem. Very interesting. Like I was saying, resistance to water stagnation, and is a final state repairing membrane that we are putting in a gutter.
Absolutely. So those are the main characteristics, again, to having a product very durable. So depending on the gutter itself, we will have a water stagnation. So it's important to have a product that will resist. And as Ricardo is saying, we can use this solution to repair a gutter even in a very final state. Again, if this is not the structure integrity of the gutter itself is not compromised. This is the only thing that we'd like to mention here when it comes to covering a very deteriorated gutter itself. But other than that, you can apply to pretty much any type of gutter, and not just metal. We have experience with all the types of products, stainless steel, galvanized steel, other types of product, even masonry. You can apply this EPDM self-adhesive membrane. So here, when it comes to the application, so it's quite easy. The membrane itself comes in rolls, 10 meters rolls usually, and with different widths. The width itself will actually fulfill the whole width that you need for the gutter. For instance, you have it here 30, 30, 30 centimeters. So we will provide a 90 centimeters exactly row, which will fulfill your 9 full total development of the gutter with the self-adhesive membrane. So the first thing you need to do, of course, is just measure. This is pretty much all we need, especially from the client sides. So they send us a couple of pictures, and we say, oh, what is the total value, or the total of the dimensions of the gutter and the length, and we provide the materials that they actually need for this type of application. Depending on the state of the gutter, we do recommend using a primer. Again, we see two different situations here. Some clients use this as even in a new build construction to reinforce, to give this extra assurance of the gutter itself. And we have other clients that they already have a very damaged gutter. So depending on the actual state of the gutter, we recommend to apply a primer. But in some cases, it will not even be necessary. You don't actually need to use a primer for this application. This is just a special requirement, again, depending on the actual state. Mm-hmm. As you see here, in this case, we did indeed needed to use the primer, which is the 9800. Again, you don't actually worry about this accessory. This is special needed requirements. This is all come as a kit. We supplied all the materials that you need for this installation. And besides that, it's very important to mention and correct, Ricardo, that All this is including our main installation, but we do go for siding. We do provide training for the guys, even though being very easy. But for the first application, first client bot, we go there most of the times and help the guys to install.
Yes, yes, John, that's true. And the solutions are very easy to apply. We make it very easier because even yesterday I have a quotation for the solution, and the client wants 670 millimeters of width, and we will cut it at 670 millimeter of width. There's no problem. And all of this to make it easier for the client and for the people who will apply this solution to apply it well, to don't have any problem. And yes,
Absolutely. We have no, so what you're saying is we have no limitations when it comes to the actually weight of the total value they
yes,
need for sealing or for repairing the gutter. We provide exactly what you want, and then to avoid again those extra works, extra cutting sides,
yes,
which is quite nice, quite neat. So
yes,
here, what we did, the first thing is apply the primer, again, because of the actual state of the gutter. It's quite simple. It's a primer that we use for this type of application with a brush, and then you just apply on the whole gutter. So the second things that we do in when it comes to this application is to actually cut, since it's a self-adhesive membrane, we provide even a special cut, a special knife that you can actually cut the sides or the bottom for the application, and this is will not damage the membrane itself. We will only cut the protective foil that you need to remove. So in this case, what we actually indicate or we recommend is to measure up the bottom and the sides, having this is just quick mark, and then the end you just remove one side foil to the bright, for example, the side laps after you're applying the bottom. So it's quite simple. Again, every gutter will have different configuration. We're talking about here just a simple square box shape, which is quite standard. And that's it. Once you just measure up how the size, the bottoms is, you just adhere on the size and the bottom itself. So quite simple, as you see here, correct, Ricardo?
yes, Sean. It's very, very simple. We have a scissor that we use, a special scissor to cut only the protective the protective
The protective foil.
yes, the protective foil that we cover the adhesive part. And this is very easy. We can understand in the next slide how it is done. But
Yeah.
we depending on the width of the base and of the gutter, we cut it in three parts. Only the foil
The
of
foil.
the adhesive part, and it's very, very interesting, this way of application. It's been optimized throughout the years. When we put this solution on the market, there's no application method. We try with any situation, we try to adapt. Now this application method is very adaptable to every situation, a very simple method of application that we have here, João.
Absolutely. What we see here in those two pictures, so we actually standed the most of the row and already pre-cut it, pre-marking the sides and the bottom. As you see here, you see actually just a very thin cut here
Yes.
and here, and you have the actually three parts. So, and then we just apply, as you see here. So quite simple. So first thing in the bottom of the gutter, and then we go for the sides. So here is actually the application itself. Ricardo, you like to mention here?
Yes, sure. This is a part of the membrane applied very well. We can see it's perfectly applied to the base and to the laterals. And there's no question here. The only question that maybe will come to the mind of the people that are watching is, how can I do this overlap now? I have, this is the end of the roll. How can I do the overlap? And we'll
Yeah.
see. It's very easy. overlaps, we are doing it in this solution, and it's saying in the manual of application of this solution, we can do this with our solution Effisus bond FT tape. When we give the quotation for this membrane, we also have in mind this kind of situation of overlaps, and we quote the Effisus bond FT for each case. So it's a very malleable membrane that we have, an APDM membrane, the same material of the Untitled Chapter membrane, and it's very easy. We only have to cut it, and with the width of the gutter, and apply it. We'll see in the next slide. It's very easy and intuitive to apply this
quite easy. So here it's just, as Ricardo is saying, we overlap one on top of the other with a minimum 100 millimeters. And then again, you go with this flashing tape, again, self-adhesive tape that we use it for many other situations, only to seal the joints or the overlaps, in this case, between the outside gutter membrane, which are quite easy. Yeah. And here you actually see how this whole process goes. This is, again, besides us giving a double layer, a double protective between the joint or the overlap, it's quite easy, quite simple. In this case, again, it's a self-adhesive membrane. You just apply it on the middle of the overlap, with, in this case, 200 millimeters, with a minimum of 100 of the other membrane. You just apply it on the top. And for the next and final step, you just a bit of a sealant that we use, adhesive sealant, just to seal the overlaps of these membranes or the sides of this membrane side, just the perimeter, which are quite simple. Again, you don't actually have to worry about any of these accessories. As I mentioned, all we need to use is the total length and the width of the gutter. We will quote, and this will come in kits supplied with all the materials you need for this application. Yeah. The most important thing here is the whole application method. It's very simple. So when it comes to drain outlets, we use the same tape that we use it for the overlaps. So here the same things. You just measure up the actual drain outlets that you need to cut and seal. Using the same tape, the Bond FT, you apply in the drain outlets, and you cut a hole a little bit smaller, of course, at the actual hole itself. And then, since it's very flexible, you can even once adhere on sides of the drain outlet itself, the hole itself. So very easy. And again, this whole solution, we're able to provide this, including in kits. You don't actually worry about any of this application. And the most important things will give you all the client requirements they actually saw. So we saw there the requirements are having efficient file solution. In this case, you don't need any special tools, quick and easy to apply. And again, the whole warranty, the whole life expectancy and durable solution that the client requirements. So we check all the boxes for those requirements. Ricardo, mentioned something here that I forgot.
No, I only want to say that we normally give for this type of solutions a 5-year warranty. And this case that we have photos that we were there when the first membranes were applied, because it was 700 meters of Untitled Chapter that were applied. We were there, they sent us photos, and we can establish a 10-year warranty for this solution. But this solution, like you said, a 50-year life expectancy, and no problem at all until now, and it's been there for maybe a couple of years now.
Absolutely. So Ricardo was saying we have a standard warranty, is a limit warranty of 5 years. But again, depending on how we engage in the project itself or the project aspects, we can even extend a little bit. In this case, it went for 10 years because we're there, we saw the whole application, we know how it was pretty well installed. And we can do this depending on the quantity, depending on the project. We can extend this with no problems because we have this guarantee that this absolutely will work. So the other case, we'll be focusing instead of the whole gutter, the whole integrity of the gutter, we'll be focusing only on the joints. So we have a specific solution only on the joints itself. Again, the joints of the gutter are the weakest part when it comes to find leakings. Again, different materials being applied. Sometimes it's welded, as you see here in this case. So it was a construction of a pavilion for a textile factory. And again, they had a couple of requirements, a couple of problems that we solved. First thing we saw, the gutter joint was a galvanized. This was a galvanized gutter. So we see a lot of problems when it comes to galvanized materials because specifically when they go into weld, first it's quite hard to weld a galvanized steel. And again, not only it's hard to weld the joints, this is what absolutely damage the coating, the whole galvanized, which will damage the whole integrity of the joint itself. In the specific case, the client tried many other solutions. It did a series of apply a series of materials to try to come up with these problems, but it couldn't at all. So again, besides of being galvanized, it will be a very hard working because it has many different quantities of joints, a very limited time, and again, durability of the solution that they tried to apply was not great at all. So here we have pretty much the same requirements. Again, being specific on the joints itself, quite different, but similar in a way of the requirements when it comes to, again, wanting a efficient quality solution, quick and easy, no special tools required at all. Same thing here. So instead of just welding, applied all the type of materials, we have a solution specific that doesn't require any of this. So we call it a tight gutter 3. This is, as the name says, is specific for the gutter. And again, it's a triple layer. We'll discuss more later on. So it's based on pretty much the same technology that we saw on the outside gutter, but instead of being self-adhesive, we apply different things. So this is comparable to most of the cases, most of the materials. Again, no extra materials need. And here you're going to see a little bit how this system actually works. So it's a 3-level solution. The first level, it's composed by a tape, is a waterproofing sealing tape that we use it a lot. We call it Effisus 2-bond-S. The second level is the equal facade membrane, which is based on an APDM. And then we seal the sides, which is the third level, with a bonding KF plus P adhesive. So when it comes to the composition, again, as I mentioned, this is a triple level waterproofing solution. You apply, the first one is the 2-bond-S. And this is a 100% waterproof sealing tape. We use this for a lot of types of things, specifically when it comes to the joints. We always use this, not only gutter joints, but even panel joints and other types of overlappings that we see. Because we have done a couple of testings and additional testings on this product itself, and we have absolute assurance that this is a 100% waterproof. So this is the first thing. You apply it there, and then the other thing, it comes the eco facade, which is the APDM membrane. We all know this will cover the whole solution, the whole joint. It's extremely resistant to UVs. Again, same life expectancy of a normal APDM, over 50 years. Same thing, 100% waterproof. And not only this, those two both materials have a very higher elongation or elasticity. So we know that these materials are constantly working. So if for any reason it fails, or if having a gap or expected movement between the joints, those materials will have the necessary flexibility to hold those two materials and not having a leak or a hole inside the building. And again, just to be extra sure, we applied on the whole perimeter a bit of a adhesive. So here, when it comes to the application, Ricardo, do you like to talk more about, in this case specific?
Yes, Ron. Like other solutions that we have to guarantee that the surface where we are going to apply the solution is very clean, no humidity, and that's the most important to applying the solution. The first membrane that we're going to apply is 2-bond-S. 2-bond-S, after we put a little pressure, it has some primer encapsulated in his adhesive part that will start to be activated. and it's very important that the surface is clean and without any type of humidity. So you can pass to the next slide if you want.
Yeah, so here just quite simple. We just clean it. Of course, there's the substrate when it comes to the application itself. And here's the tubo as Ricardo was mentioning.
Yes, in this case, like we see from the pictures, the worker see how was the width of the gutter, and it measured and it cut it in the width of the gutter. So after that, he will take the protective folio of the membrane and start to adhere to the gutter. The most important thing, this is a very simple solution, very simple to apply, you can see from this image. So but we have to be very attentive and very cautious when we are doing this 90 degrees. It's the most important part of the application. We only need to be very conscious when we do this kind of 90 degrees with the membrane, because it's the most important thing of the application. The rest is very easy, very simple, but this part we have to be concentrated to do. And this worker has a own method. It is a kind of a part of something. I can't understand
just
very
like
good.
a spatula or something. So you're
Yes.
just using there to adhere in the whole sides and the bottom. And then in this case, even if you hear a little fastener, a little screw,
Yes.
you can even go on top of that, which is quite nice. If you saw in the other pictures, I have some little rivets things here in this case. So we cover all of that, applying the tube on the S. Sensei is a double-sided adhesive membrane. And after that, a tape, you just remove the other foil. In this case, you come up on top of that with the eco facade, which is the APDM. So you actually measure up. Again, this comes in rows. In this case, with the actual dimension that we need. And all you need to do is measure and cut it up and applying joint by joint, step by step. So you measure up where you're going to apply. Since this one is specific, is not self-adhesive, what we recommend is to apply just 2 bits of adhesive, the same one they're going to seal the perimeter. It will actually adhere the membrane on top of the gutter. So this is actually what you see. You measure, apply a bit of adhesive, in this case 2 bits, and then you come to the membrane on top of that. And just to seal the perimeter, we apply another bit all around where the application was. So quite simple. Again, this is a first string. Could be seen complicated, but it's not at all. The guys were getting more experience. Again, there's multiple joints in the specific particular case, and you're able to seal all the joints quite easy. So here, same thing. We checked all the box, we checked all the requirements. And most important thing, again, is not only to fulfilling those requirements the client needs, is to having a durable and efficient solution. Again, same thing comes here with the warranty, normal standard 5 years. But again, depending on the project, we can even go extend this a little bit more. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this presentation. I hope it has been informative and good in a way for you guys. Just to let you know, we've been doing this pretty much every day. We have daily sessions. I'm here the same times. We have other sessions in different times, which is available on our website. And for us, it's really important to have you guys' feedback. So Ricardo, just share here in the chat. If possible, please just go to this link and give us a feedback. A positive or negative thing, we're here to hear you guys, and this is all works to improve our work. So again, this is my contact, this is my email, my mobile phone. If you have any additional questions, just feel free to contact me. When it comes to quotations or other clients, I'm here to support you guys. So thank you, Melody. Melody just sent a message. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ricardo. See you.
Thank you, João. Have a nice day.
Bye, you too.